I'd like to call this regular council meeting to order. Councillor Lewis, would you be good enough to read the land acknowledgement, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. We acknowledge the land upon which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Attawandaron, Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe people. We are the beneficiaries of ancient agreements such as the dish with one spoon between the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee, who agree to share the abundance of the land through peace, friendship, and mutual respect. The two-row wampum by which the Haudenosaunee welcomed the settlers and agreed to share the land in mutual respect, and the Treaty of Niagara, considered a fundamental document by First Nations in all future relations and treaties with the British. We recognize that we have a responsibility to be stewards of the land in cooperation and collaboration with Indigenous people, not only for one generation, but for all generations to come. We understand that we have an obligation to learn from the lessons of our history, educate ourselves about the experiences of Indigenous people, and seek opportunities to heal the wounds that will result in reconciliation with our Indigenous sisters and brothers. Many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people live and work in Fort Erie. We stand with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the land on which we live. We have the good fortune to live in a land of such abundance, diversity, and beauty. Let us be vigilant in protecting Turtle Island.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lewis. Would you all please rise for the invocation?
We meet to serve our community and endeavor to be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Let us be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, so that in our deliberations we may display imagination, wisdom, and courage, and the will to do our work for the good of all.
Thank you. And Mr. Clerk, the roll call, please.
Your Worship, Councillor Flagg is absent. All other members of council are present. Regional Councillor was not able to make it tonight either.
Thank you. There's no addendum this evening, just a couple of brief announcements. This past weekend there were a couple of anniversaries. The first was the 25th anniversary of Matthew House Refugee Ministry. They've started from virtually nothing 25 years ago to now owning several properties, and they address not only asylum seeker concerns, such as helping them to resettle in our community, help them to find employment, language skills, etc. And they have a very vibrant volunteer base and a very visionary group of individuals on their board of directors. So congratulations to Matthew House. Second anniversary was the 20th anniversary of the Last Chance Horse and Pony Rescue Organization, and they had a packed house yesterday, lots of people there, lots of horses, they had birthday cake, the whole 9 yards, and again, they've got quite a volunteer base as well, so congratulations to Last Chance Horse and Pony Rescue. Are there declarations of pecuniary interest? Councillor Christensen?
Yes, Your Worship. On item 18.2, bylaw 89-2025, I own a property that is considered within that bylaw.
Thank you. And Councillor Lewis?
18.1, 88-2025, appointment of livestock evaluator. As I work for Poultry Industry Council, and our membership would have a direct interest in that bylaw.
Thank you. Any others? If not, there are no upcoming meetings or open houses to give notice of. The regional councillor is not available this evening. Presentations and delegations. Mr. Patton, is the delegate in the digital waiting room? So we didn't receive, okay, so ordinarily Mr. Seuss would be present. So we'll hold that down, see where we are, should he arise. Councillor Noyes?
I'm having major problems with my laptop.
Okay.
So it's just flashing on and off. So I'm not sure if it can be fixed right away.
So I wonder if there's someone else that has a... Do you have to pay extra for that light show?
Well, I do think I paid my bill, but maybe the check is still in the mail. I don't know.
It's probably the town. Maybe the town didn't pay.
Yeah. I'm sorry for interrupting, but
No, that's perfectly fine. We have no public meetings this evening, so we're going to just hold.
no, I don't have a paper copy. Well, I have a paper copy of this, but I don't have a paper copy of all the written stuff.
I wonder if someone could provide.
Well, he fixed it, he's good. Thank you.
Okay, stop flashing.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes us to the consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone wishes removed from the consent agenda? If not, then Councillor Christensen, I understand you have the resolution to move the consent agenda items?
Yes. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McDermott, that council approves the consent agenda as recommended.
Are there any questions or comments with respect to any of the items contained in the, yes, Councillor Noyes?
Yes, excuse me. 11.3.1, the Accessibility Advisory Committee. In there, they are recommending accessible parking space in front of Stevensville Post Office. This has been discussed, I think both with Infrastructure and the Traffic Coordinating Committee. But again, it came up again in accessibility, and we are quite keen on that there should be an accessible parking spot by the post office. And I understand that's the only one in all of Fort Erie that does not have an accessible parking spot. And actually, there's no accessible parking spaces at all in Stevensville. So we're hoping that infrastructure will take a second look at this, and we have given suggestions on how it can be done.
So you've made reference to staff. The recommendation says, or you said infrastructure services. The recommendation says refer to staff. Is this going to be referred to staff or to the Traffic Coordinating Committee? Mr. Clerk?
Sorry, Your Worship, I missed the question.
Yeah, 11.3.1, the reference is receive and refer recommendation to staff. The recommendation or the resolution from the Accessibility Advisory Committee was to request the Traffic Coordinating Committee create a parking space. Who is this going to be referred to if this resolution is passed? Will it go to Infrastructure Services or will it go to Traffic Coordinating Committee?
Sorry, through Your Worship, I believe it would be going to the Infrastructure Services staff, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Mr. Frost, did you want to weigh in?
Yes. Staff can bring this forward to the Traffic Coordinating Committee with a recommendation based on the analysis, and then the
All right.
TCC can formally review it again.
Okay. Councillor Noyes, you may have been clear on all that, but I wasn't. I just thought we should maybe make sure that we know the route.
Yeah, and just to let you know, the light show has returned. So,
Well, that should shorten the meeting.
yeah. Okay, the other question I had, and I can't refer to it because I can't get it.
I'm sorry, what item was that, Councillor Noyes?
The new one is 11.3.3, the Museum Cultural Heritage Advisory Committee. Minutes, in the minutes, they're talking about a potential designation for, and I don't know the number because I can't see it, on Nye Road. And I have some concerns in regards to us proceeding with that without, number one, more information and more, like how to, okay, in the report, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't read it, basically it says that most of the architectural features have been removed by the owner. They've been, done A, B, and C to it for all the right reasons, and that it might be a hard push to get it through, to get it designated, but she felt confident because of the historical value in regards to it being one of the first homesteads, that they could probably find enough points for it to meet the heritage designation. Now, so I'm not keen when they themselves aren't sure that we're going to spend, I think these reports cost anywhere between $7,000 and $9,000, that we proceed with this until we have a better basis on why. Basically, it's 35 feet one way and 750 feet on Nye Road. Again, I'm thinking that maybe we need to slow this down a little bit until
Well,
we have
Councillor
more
Noyes,
information.
we're dealing with the minutes of the meeting. They haven't made a recommendation. The recommendation with respect to this property isn't before us. We know what your concerns are. The last paragraph on that particular item says that the committee agreed to do some title search with respect to verifying property history, and the previous ARA reports would be used as a template in developing a new report.
Yeah, I can give some insight into that, Your Worship.
Okay, well, I don't think we need to get into this because all we're doing is reviewing their minutes, approving their minutes, and that's what they discussed. We're not dealing with a recommendation, it's not before us.
Fair enough, but I would hate to see that we have a bill for $8,000 for a report that we may or may not. So if all they're doing is basically some more surface work or whatever, that's fine, but I don't want to be seeing the town expending that kind of money for something that may not be approved.
Well, you've gone to a deeper issue, and that is how much do we interfere with the work of a committee that we've appointed? And if we're going to be interfering, then maybe we need to look at the terms of reference of that committee. But you know, you're wanting to intervene in what they're doing right now. These are the minutes. This is what they're doing. They're telling us what they're doing. They've heard your comments, I'm sure. But right now, all we're doing is approving the minutes. If they make a recommendation, we'll have to deal with it. If they don't make a recommendation, we won't have anything to deal with.
And fair enough. So in other words, what we should expect then, that before they go ahead and order the report, because they do have a budget, they're going to come back to council and ask, or let us know that that's one of the recommendations. I'm
If
fine
they
with
exceed
that.
their budget, they would have to seek more money, or they would have to reallocate their funds so that they're within the budget in terms of what they've advised the municipality, the council, that they're going to do with the money that they receive.
So what I'm reading into this is basically if there's money in the budget, they can go ahead with the report and spend $8,000 to $10,000 on a report.
Well, you're reading a lot, Councillor Noyes, and at this stage of the game, we're receiving the minutes. You've mentioned what you want to talk about. Any further discussion about whether they should proceed with the report or not proceed with the report, I'm going to consider out of order.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Anyone else with respect to any of the items in the consent agenda? If not, all those in favor of the recommendations? None opposed, that is carried. That then takes us to the reports, and the first is under new business inquiries. And Councillor Dubanow, you have the resolution regarding the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
I do, Your Worship. Just give me 1 second. I just got to bring it up here. Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Lewis, whereas Section 26(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, CP 13 requires that a municipality revise its official plan to ensure that it A, conforms with provincial plans or does not conflict with them, as the case may be, B, has regard to the matters of provincial interest listed in Section 2 of the Planning Act, C, is consistent with policy statements issued under subsection 3(1) of the Planning Act, and whereas the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Fort Erie has undertaken a comprehensive review of the official plan, including public consultation, engagement with Indigenous communities, and consideration of provincial policy documents, and whereas the revised official plan has been prepared in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act and reflects the current planning framework, community needs, and provincial interests, and whereas Section 26(7) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, CP 13, requires that each time the official plan is revised under subsection 1, the council shall, by resolution, declare to the approval authority that the official plan meets the requirements and clauses of 1A, B, and C. Now therefore be it resolved that Council of the Town of Fort Erie hereby declares that the official plan meets the requirements of Section 26(1) and Section 26(7) of the Planning Act, and further, that Council directs staff to submit the revised official plan and this resolution to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing for review and approval as required, and further, that Council affirms its commitment to ongoing collaboration with provincial authorities and community stakeholders to ensure that the official plan remains responsive to evolving needs and priorities.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Terry, the second substantive paragraph, which refers to submitting a revised official plan, is that what we've already done? We've submitted our revised official plan?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, we have submitted that plan to the province already. They've just requested that we provide this resolution to accompany it.
Which essentially confirms what we've done in terms of preparing our new official plan.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions, all those in favor of the resolution? None opposed, that is carried. Mr. Seuss, I see that you've come in. I've got a couple of, oh, he's gone. You're with him. Okay, so there's two very brief items that we're going to deal with, and then I'm going to call upon your delegation, so you may want to get him back in here before he misses this turn, too. The next resolution relates to the Bridgeburg Station Downtown BIA, and Councillor McDermott, you have that resolution.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Christensen, that Council accepts the resignation of Jade Galloway from the Bridgeburg Station Downtown Business Improvement Area Board of Management, and further, that Council directs staff to proceed with filling the vacancy in accordance with the procedural bylaw.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. And then Councillor Dubanow, would you do the resolution with respect to the resignation from the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, please?
I'd be happy to, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Noyes that Council accepts the resignation of Julia Piazza from the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, and further, that Council directs staff to proceed with filling the vacancy in accordance with the procedural bylaw.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. So before we close out new business, I'm going to go back in the agenda to the delegation by Mr. Seuss and Alicia Gugu. If you would like to please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for your indulgence, Chair. It's great to see you all. It's been a long time since I presented to Fort Erie Council, but today I'm here to present with my friends Alicia and Melissa on opening up the private sex offender registries in Ontario and Canada to the public. This is a public safety issue. Nobody wants to live next to a sex offender. And you're going to hear stories tonight that will prove the case as to why this public registry is important. We have no way of knowing if a sex offender is even living in our own lives. And that's what Alicia will touch on. So this is important. Provincially, it would be the Solicitor General, and federally, it would be the Attorney General who's responsible for opening up the registry. Right now, the only ones with access are law enforcement. But the United States has a public registry, and it works just fine. So that's a jurisdiction where we can prove that this actually works, and keeping the public informed. You're all well aware of what happened with in Welland with a violent offender doing a home invasion on a little girl, and we want a lot of action on crime, public sex offender registry, community watches, bail reform, harsher penalties. All these things are important for addressing what is going on in our community. Fort Erie is not exempt from this. There are violent offenders amongst us in Fort Erie, Niagara. We're a hub for human trafficking in this region. There's a lot of problems. We need to strengthen public notification systems when violent offenders get let out, but not all violent offenders get mentioned. Some are flying under the radar. So that's important that's very important that the Ontario registry is public and the Canada registry. And then we can copy AMO and FCM on the motion so that we can get all the municipalities to put pressure on the Liberal government and the Doug Ford government to make this happen. So I'm going to turn it over to Alicia now, and she's going to tell you a little bit more as to why this is important. But I do hope that I submitted in writing kind of some requests that I had to the clerk. So if the clerk has that, maybe they can provide that so that somebody could move a motion if they were interested. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. My name is Alicia Gugu, and I stand before you not only as a concerned community member, but as a survivor of child sexual violence. My offender was on the sex offender registry, but my mother had no way of knowing that. If she had access to that information, my story and my childhood may have looked very different. And I am not alone. As a little girl we know, little E, was violently assaulted as she slept in her own bed. The man who attacked her was also on the sex offender registry, yet her family, her teachers, and her community had no way of knowing. They were denied the very information that could have safeguarded her. Statistics show that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 7 boys report being sexually abused, but the reality is far worse. Most victims never come forward. Many are silenced, not only by threats of violence against themselves or their families, but also by the deep fear that no one will believe them. And most of the time, these offenders are not strangers. They are people the children and their families know and trust. This dynamic of fear and manipulation keeps countless victims silent, allowing predators to continue offending undetected. This is why access to the sex offender registry is so vital. Teachers, school staff, coaches, and others who work closely with children should know if a registered offender is near the children in their care. Parents and communities deserve the same right to know if someone with a history of sexual violence is living near a school, a daycare, a playground, or their home. This is not about vigilantism. This is about prevention. It is about protection. It is about empowering families, educators, and communities the knowledge that they could save a life. It's about preserving what childhood is meant to be. Childhood should be filled with laughter, curiosity, trust, safety. It's a time meant for building dreams, not recovering from nightmares. But for victims of sexual abuse, childhood often becomes something entirely different, a landscape marked by fear, confusion, shame, and betrayal. The impact doesn't disappear when abuse ends. Survivors often carry invisible wounds well into adulthood. The trauma rewires how a child sees the world, turning places that should feel safe into sources of anxiety and mistrust. It can lead to depression, post-traumatic stress, addiction as a desperate attempt to numb the pain, and even suicidal thoughts. Many survivors struggle to form healthy relationships, to trust others at all. And perhaps the most heartbreaking truth is that many grew up believing the abuse was their fault, a burden no child should ever carry. These are not just statistics or isolated tragedies. These are real lives, and these are consequences rippled out into families, schools, and entire communities, and so much of this suffering could be prevented if we stop prioritizing the privacy of offenders over the safety of children. We cannot allow that to continue. Opening the sex offender registry to the public is a common sense, life-saving measure and ensures that those responsible for protecting children have the knowledge that they need to do so. I am asking you today, as a leader, as parents, and as members of a community that cares, to table and support a motion urging the provincial and federal governments to make the sex offender registry publicly accessible. This is not a political debate. This is a moral responsibility. It is time to act. Let's ensure no more children endure the pain that could have been prevented. Stand with survivors, stand with families, and stand with the children whose safety depends on the decisions you make in this chamber. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gugu. Anything further, Mr. Zeus?
Can I speak or no?
What's your last name, Melissa?
Melissa Gugu.
Yes, you've got 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Good evening, members of the council, lawmakers, and fellow citizens. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this issue that touches the very heart of our community's safety and public trust. The urgent need to open the Ontario Sex Offenders Registry to the public Currently, Canada maintains a national sex offender registry that is not accessible to the public. Only law enforcement has access to this database, which means parents, teachers, and community members have no way of knowing if a convicted sex offender is living near them in their schools or by their children. This lack of transparency leaves the public unprotected and uninformed. And frankly, it undermines confidence in our justice system, our justice system's ability to safeguard their most valuable citizens. The public has a right to know. This is not about vigilance. vigilantism. Where am I? Oh, no. A public registry would inform citizens, but also promote accountability and deterrence. When offenders know that their actions have lasting, visible consequences, this incentive to reoffend diminishes. Transparency can save lives. Countries like the United States and United Kingdoms already open their public registry. These laws have proven effective in reducing repeat offenders and improving public awareness. It's important that they include safeguards so that it's not misused. Ontario can and should adapt the same public infringements on offenders. Oh no, sorry. Sorry. Okay, here we go. It is not about punishment beyond the sentence, it's about prevention, and prevention requires knowledge. When the government withholds information, public trust erodes, citizens become and feel powerless and fearful. Unsure of whether the system is truly protecting them, by opening the sex registry, Ontario can rebuild trust through openness, responsibility, and collaboration with its community. Transparency sends a message that our government believes in the strength and wisdom of its people, and that it will share a role in keeping our neighborhoods safe. So today, I urge lawmakers here and across Canada to act with the courage and compassion. Let Ontario lead the way by creating a public responsible, managed sex offender registry that prioritizes safety, awareness, and accountability. We cannot continue to wait for another tragedy to happen. Thank you for your time. Melissa, sorry.
And we'll take any questions if there are any.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. Councillor Noyes.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for your presentation. And in tonight's consent agenda, actually, we do have, that we have received, basically the city of Thorold basically supporting exactly what you're talking about. We received it, and I'm just wondering, would you prefer that we receive and support it as opposed to just receiving it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Councillor. So I started to push for the public sex offender registry back in August before Little League happened in Niagara Falls. So I worked with Carmen DeRose on that motion. The Thorold motion only mentions the Ontario one. We want to see a public Ontario sex offender registry and a national public one. So we have, so far to my knowledge, we have Waynfleet, Lincoln, Grimsby, St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, and Thorold. So we have quite a few municipalities behind us, and we would love for Fort Erie to join the call. And like I said, Mr. Mayor, the clerk has a written submission from me that kind of outlines what I would like to see. So if we're going to do something, just make sure AMO and FCM is copied on it so we can get this out far and wide. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Clerk, do you have something that you can show us that you've received from Mr. Seuss?
I can forward that information to council, yes.
Okay, and that makes reference to including the federal sex offender registry?
Correct. If I'm referring to the same document, it's the delegation request form that was submitted. Yeah, I can forward that along to council.
Okay, and that unfortunately wasn't included in our council agenda.
Package, no.
The package, no. Okay, so what we have is the Thorold resolution. Excuse me. So the Thorold resolution makes reference to the Government of Ontario sex offender registry, and you would want a similar provision with respect to the federal government's sex offender registry.
That's correct, Mr. Redekop.
And you would want this circulated to the, I suppose, the Prime Minister, the the Minister of Justice, Federal Minister of Justice, the Attorney General of Ontario, Solicitor General, all regional members of Parliament, regional municipalities, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario.
Yes, and FCM, Mr. Redekop.
FCM. Okay, Clerk, do you have essentially what I've just mentioned in case we get to that? Any other questions before okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have any insights, Mr. Sousa, you can probably best answer this. Do you have any insights as to why both the federal government and the provincial government would decide to limit access to this sex offender registry at both levels to only the police authorities?
That's a great question, Chair, and I think it's because, I don't think it's because there's a lot of support for it from individuals. Like, we're talking to provincial officials, we're talking to federal officials. You just met with the MP who's supportive of it in Niagara South, which is part of Fort Erie. So I just think that, nobody's been pushing it at council until we came along to, get the ball rolling, right? So we're getting all these municipalities on board, and it's getting more and more public. So I think there's wide support for it, and we just need we just need to continue to get the municipalities on board and make people aware of what we want. This is a huge public safety issue. So I don't think it's that there's not support for it, because when I spoke at the vigil for Little Lee, I mean, when the crowd erupted when I mentioned a public sex offender registry, absolutely, did they not? Yeah, the crowd absolutely erupted in applause. So this is a big, and the protests, yeah. So this is a big issue, Mr. Redekop, and I think
That actually doesn't respond to my question.
Oh,
These sex offender registries aren't new. These have been around for quite some time.
yes.
Do you have an understanding, or do you have any insights as to why both levels of government would choose to limit the access to this information to only the police authorities?
Yes, I'm assuming fear of vigilantism. They have fear of that, but that fear outweighs the risks of assault on children. So if you sorry, I'm gonna get emotional. If you look at the stats of vigilantism and the stats of child sexual assaults, the sexual assaults are far greater.
And may I add that I think that the vigilantism happens when people are left in the dark and they feel like there's no one left to turn to, and then they take it into their own hands, especially when your children and loved ones are being hurt.
Lack of action
Yeah,
on
like lack of
crime
transparency, lack of.
Yes, that as well.
Okay, any other members of council have any questions? Thank you very much for coming out. We're still under new business, which means there's still an opportunity for a councillor to move that we receive and support the resolution from the City of Thorold and add on to it the federal government and provide notice of the passage of this to the various entities, including AMO and FCM.
Perfect.
So you folks can have a seat if you wish.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor McDermott?
Yes, Your Worship, if we have a motion available, I'll make that motion right now.
Okay, so the motion, Clerk, for your benefit, is that we would support the resolution from the City of Thorold, but add to it a request that the federal government make its sex offender registry available to public access, and that aside from those entities to be circulated, we would include the Prime Minister, the Federal Minister of Justice, AMO, and FCM. Does that fit your purposes, Councillor McDermott?
Yes, Your Worship.
And a seconder? Councillor Dubanow? Okay, do you have all of that, Clerk? Okay. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of the resolution to support this resolution from the City of Thorold as amended? That is carried. Okay, thank you very much, folks, for coming out. So that, yes, we're in new business. Councillor Dubanow.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Just, it is new business, but it references back to the last council and committee meeting, the discussion about rodent infestations. I wanted to mention for everyone's benefit and anyone who's listening tonight, I did hear from a resident earlier this afternoon who was kind of surprised by some of the comments from the town saying that we didn't believe we had a rodent problem, and they gave me their examples of why they think we do. And the only reason I wanted to mention this tonight, Your Worship, is, you know, as I said to the resident this evening, we know what we hear about. So if there is an area of the municipality or a neighborhood or where there's been construction going on and there has been an uptick in rats or other rodents, it's very important for residents to let us know. We do now have the rebate program, which is available to help. My understanding is it's only one individual has taken advantage of it. I think it was the one individual who raised the issue with me when we got the program in place. And it is available there to help individuals. It's just, I wanted to mention that, we only know what we hear about. So if there is something going on, let the town know. Public health also has an interest in this as well. We do keep track of this. The last thing I want to hear is that, why does the town think this isn't happening? Well, it's because we don't know. So it's very important residents let us know. I just wanted to mention that this evening, Your Worship.
Thank you. And I think Councillor Noyes raised a good point that when there's construction or new development going on, this seems to be a problem that arises. So we need to get a better handle on what's happening, where the areas are being developed. Any other items of new business? Councillor Noyes.
Here's going on, Councillor Dubanow about the rats too. Someone also approached me and I was telling them about the rebate program, and I gave them the information that the town was kind enough to give me so I could forward it on. And he said his concern was the $200 is nothing in regards to actually controlling the problem, that he would be spending 10 times that amount. I don't know if it's an exaggeration or not, but anyway, I think perhaps we need to kind of look at our rebate program, because it has to be an official exterminator that does it, and what they would charge for a treatment, so to speak. I don't know how else to word, and perhaps our $200 rebate is not sufficient for people to take advantage of.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to ask the CAO to make note of that and perhaps discuss that with his staff that would be engaged in this type of endeavor, plus, of course, the treasurer. Any other items of new business? Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Your Worship. I actually have two. One's with respect to, I know recently in my ward and potentially over into Ridgeway for sure, we have been experiencing an increase in what I'm going to call some illegal dumping and some just municipal waste bins that are not getting picked up. And certainly it's been much conversation in the community, certainly large discussion on social media. And I don't think it's necessarily directed at one specific end of town, but I know we have budget coming up. I know you and I have spoke and share some of the concerns, but I just wanted to bring it up tonight because I've had some people reach out to me this week hoping that it would be a discussion around the table here. And I gave it some thought over the weekend because I've spoken with a number of residents about it. And when I say I think we can do more, I don't mean specifically necessarily the town, but I think it comes down to the municipality, corporations, and individuals. And years ago, we had the Don't Be a Litter Bug campaign. We had a lot of forward-facing information encouraging people to do their part. But when I drive through other parts of the province for work, I'm shocked to see the amount of what I'm going to call pride in housekeeping going on in those municipalities. And these are municipalities that are rural and remote, much smaller than our township, much smaller budgets than our township. And for some reason, they're able to do it. And I don't know necessarily what the single answer is or if there is a single one, but I think we need to look at it from several different viewpoints. And I go through some areas and I see Adopt a Park. I know we've talked about it in years past, but I really hope that we do make that a priority. It is the first thing people see when they're coming into our community. I know it's not unique to just Crystal Beach, but I do think it's something that we should be mindful of. I know staff are mindful of it, and I know we've gone from summer hours to winter hours and some fluctuation there as well, so I'm by no means pointing fingers. And when I say we, I mean me too. We can all do our part to keep our community and our neighborhoods tidy. So I just wanted to bring that up as just a point of interest.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue that we're going to need to be discussing during our budget deliberations. A couple of aspects. One is to ensure better waste collection in the public waste receptacles. And you're quite right. It's not just the municipality. This could be a broader initiative. The Don't Be a Litter Bug was part of the Communities in Bloom initiative that we had years ago, which we haven't been engaged in for a while now. It might be time to see whether there's an opportunity with respect to that. But also a program, now that we have a community organizer on staff, that might be something that we can also provide to her. But I have had a number of discussions with the CAO about this, and I do expect that some budget discussions will take place relative to levels of service with respect to the waste. Also, the extent of washrooms being open, parks being open, bins being available in the parks, even during the fall, winter months, because people don't stop walking their dogs, they don't stop taking their children out, they don't stop wanting to dispose of waste, and so we need to be mindful of that. Did you want to make any comments, CAO?
Through you to council, maybe just to reiterate some of the focus on civic pride and some of the issues we've been dealing with litter and garbage. Not unique to Fort Erie from my conversations with other CAOs, but certainly with the amount of tourists and people coming in to enjoy the area, it's very important for us to be focused on clean, enjoyable areas for people to come in and visit and enjoy. And so certainly been a focus of mine on civic pride projects, cleanliness, and that sense of civic pride. So we are going to be on top of it and hopefully heighten some focus on that for the upcoming weeks and the upcoming seasons for residents and visitors here.
Councillor Lewis, you had a second item.
Yeah, and the other item I just wanted to bring up was after the kind of back and forth and listening to the comments with respect to the museum committee, I just wanted to bring up the fact that I don't know myself where we're going with the designations, and I know we've had a couple of reports where some of us have had issues in particular with some of the reports. There's been a few properties that have not been designated, others that have. And while I think cultural heritage is extremely important, I think we need to at some point have a conversation about where are we going from here. And if that's continuing full speed ahead as we were going before, or if we're making some twists and adapting what we're doing midway through, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's perfectly healthy to make a change in opinion or change in direction with sound information. But to Councillor Noyes' point in the minutes and the money that's being expended for items like 3555 Nye Road, I just don't know where we're going with it. And I don't know if maybe that needs to be something that comes back to us as a report or a memo, or maybe we just need to have a larger kind of group huddle and discussion about where we want to go, because I think we're all aligned in the respect of it is a pillar and it's a priority. But at the same point, I'm getting a bit of mixed messages from even ourselves on where we stand on it. And I just wanted to bring that up tonight.
Yes, I think that there's some shifting ground. I happened to run into one of the members of the Heritage Committee on the weekend, and seems to be in agreement that there needs to be a review of this aspect of designating properties and what kind of approach we're going to take and whether there are alternatives that we should be looking at. So I think it would be important for the Heritage Committee maybe to have some discussion about that. I know that the chair of that committee wants to attend a meeting here, can provide us with some information, maybe get some comments from how we're looking at this, and that might be the basis for a review of the terms of reference, at least relative to the designation of historic and architectural significant buildings, and provide us with alternatives, because there are some things that we can do short of full designation under the Heritage Act, things that may be amenable to the residents, or may not be, but wouldn't involve them having to incur expense or place their properties in a position where they feel that they're not going to be able to deal with them the way they would like to. So there are some alternatives, and I would expect that we will hear from the committee, I'm thinking next month or shortly thereafter, and then we can provide some direction to staff from there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else under new business? If not, then I've canvassed all of you. I don't think anyone wishes to go into closed session. That being the case, Councillor Dubanow, could you provide the resolution to approve the minutes of the closed session meeting and then make some appointments?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Noyes that Council approves the closed session meeting minutes of September 8th, 2025, and that a Council appoints Jaden Domizi, if I pronounce that correctly, I apologize if I didn't, Harper Hatton, and Leah Sandell to the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee for the term ending November 14th, 2026, or until their successors are appointed.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? That resolution is carried. That takes us then to motions. Councillor Noyes, you have a resolution with respect to this.
Thank you, Thank you, Mayor Redekop. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dubanow. Whereas A.C. Douglas Park is a key community park serving residents in the growing Douglastown Black Creek neighborhood, and whereas the addition of a splash pad at A.C. Douglas Park would enhance the park's recreational amenities and provide a safe, accessible, and family-friendly outdoor activity during the summer months, and whereas under the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, the head of council is required to propose the municipal budget each year, and council may, through resolution, identify priorities for consideration during the budget review and amendment process. Now therefore be it resolved that consideration be given to the inclusion of a splash pad at A.C. Douglas Park in the town's 2026 capital budget.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? If passed, this then becomes part of our budget deliberations, and we'll deal with that at that time. All those in favor of the resolution? Unopposed? That is carried. That then, are there, let's hold on. No other motions. Are there any notices of motion? Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I provided language to the clerk previously, but I would be giving notice of motion for the removal of the parking meter at the Erie Road municipal parking lot.
And that's returnable when?
Would be the next regular council meeting, so November.
Clerk? November 17th?
Thank you.
Any other notices of motion? Okay, that takes us then to consideration of bylaws, and we'll have to deal with these separately because Councillor Lewis has a conflict with respect to 88, 2025. Councillor Christensen has a pecuniary interest with respect to 89, 2025. And Councillor Dubanow, I presume then, beg pardon? So you've already separated them. Perfect. Councillor Dubanow, then could you start with bylaw 88, please?
Yes, Your Worship, I would be happy to. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Noyes that bylaw 88-2025 to appoint a municipal livestock valuer and investigator for the town of Fort Erie, and to repeal bylaw 12009 is given first and second reading.
All those in favor? Unopposed? That bylaw is on the floor for any questions or comments. There being none, Councillor Christensen, could you do third and final reading, please, of that bylaw? Bylaw 88. I'm sorry, I have that you have it. I have that you have it. Okay, so basically, it's basically the bylaw 88 be given third and final reading to be signed by the mayor and clerk.
Yeah.
And
Moved by myself and
Oh, you need a seconder. Councillor Lewis?
No, seconder,
Councillor
Councillor
McDermott.
McDermott. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
And that is that bylaw 88, 2025 be given third and final reading to be signed by the mayor and clerk under the corporate seal. All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Okay, that then takes us to bylaw 89, and Councillor Lewis, you have first and second reading for that.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott that bylaw 89, 2025 be given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and the clerk under the corporate seal.
All those in favor? Yeah, okay, that bylaw is on the floor for any questions or comments. If there are none, Councillor Lewis, I have that you have third and final reading as well.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McDermott, that bylaw 89, 2025 to authorize applications for the cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes levied for the years 2023, 2024, and 2025 be given first and second reading.
That should be third and final.
Given third and final reading.
Correct. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried. That takes us then to the confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Dubanow.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Lewis. That bylaw 90-2025 to confirm the actions of council at its regular, confirm the actions of council at its council and committee meeting held on October 6th, 2025, and its regular meeting of council held on October 20th, 2025 is given first and second reading.
All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Councillor Noyes, you have third and final reading for that.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dubanow that bylaw number 90-2025 is given third and final reading to be signed by the mayor and the clerk under the corporate seal.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Scheduling of meetings. Anyone? Councillor Christensen.
Yes, Your Worship, the Fort Erie Public Library Board meeting will be held at 4:30 p.m. Tomorrow at the Centennial Branch of the library.
Any other meetings anyone wishes to announce? Councillor Noyes.
Because I think it's the last meeting before the Remembrance Day ceremony at Stevensville Memorial Hall. I think it's on the 11th. I'm just trying to find it here.
I think it is.
Okay, and again, my computer doesn't like me today. I think it's at 2 p.m. if I'm not mistaken, at Memorial Hall.
Yes, and you will be the municipal representative at that. There is a committee meeting prior to that, because there are also services both in Ridgeway and in Fort Erie, and there's also a service in Fort Erie on, I'm going to say November the 9th, but I haven't received official notification of it yet.
Okay. I'm just being early, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Any other meetings? If not,
Go, Jays, go.
then Councillor Dubanow.
Yes, Your Worship, we're all getting home in time for the Jays game tonight, so that's good. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Lewis that council adjourns at 6:54 p.m. to reconvene into a regular meeting of council on November 17th, 2025.
All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you all.